Hello and welcome to the Temple Mountain Podcast. My name is Shogun. Joining me today is my good friend Dude Missile, and today we're going to begin the first session of our new Dungeons and Dragons server campaign being run on the Temple Mountain Discord server. He will be the dungeon master. I will be a player. We have 5 or 6 players, but today we're just going to sort of hammer out the rules and get some of the backstory set up by doing a little test session. So that being said, welcome, Dude Missile. How are you, sir?
I am good. I'm excited. Uh, I think
Me
I
too.
think you were confused when you saw all these symbols, but I assure you, when we have to do a roll and I explain how it works, it's really not as complicated as it seems.
I think we can work this out. And if anyone hasn't heard our World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade, D&D, or Mage of the Ascension campaigns we've done in the past, you can find them on the Temple Mountain Roundtable Discord and BitChute and YouTube, where these also will be made available. But that being said, I made my character sheet. My character's name is Hanzo Kenshin,
Let me write. I'm
and
gonna write that down. Real 1 sec. Hanzo Kenshin.
it's actually Hanzo Keshin, although
Keshin.
yeah, I kind of think maybe I should have chosen a different last name for him, but that's what I got for now. So,
Okay.
um, yeah,
So
Yukamura. Yeah, I'm gonna change it. It's gonna be Hanzo Yukamura.
Hanzo Yukumoro.
Yukumura.
Okay.
But
Uh.
you can just call him Hanzo. And
Okay. Yeah.
people who don't know him don't know his last name. He specifically does not tell people about his last name unless it comes up. He just
Okay.
calls himself Hanzo.
So you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, Hanzo, you are walking down a long winding road out in the prairies. It is nighttime. As you walk down this road, you sort of come across a small, not quite a forest, just sort of a small sort of collection of trees by the road. Uh, it is dark, but the sort of landscape is slightly illuminated by the moons and the stars. Um, what do you do?
It's nighttime and I can see the stars and I'm in the
Yeah,
prairies.
yeah.
I breathe deeply and I meditate on my ancestors and I look to the heavens, to the stars to see if I can discern any messages from my ancestors in the stars.
Okay. Do you want to roll something for that? That seems like we could do a roll for
Uh,
that.
well, we could try rolling for that, sure.
Yeah.
So how would we do that?
So let me just look at the.
It
Let
could
me just.
also be handled purely as storytelling. It's entirely up
Yeah,
to you.
yeah, yeah. We'll save our rolls for something a little bit more necessary. So as you sort of look into the sky, um, you sort of get this inclination that you are not alone. Um, and that there's something watching you.
Do I have a feeling if it's a benevolent, malevolent, or neutral sense of being watched, or just that someone or something is watching me back as I
You
look at the sky?
you can't quite tell. You just know that there's some sort of presence nearby. Like
Okay.
a sixth sense. Like you're sitting in the bar and you sort of feel something. You look over your shoulder and someone's staring at you. That kind of feeling.
All right. I look for the moon. Is there a full moon? Is there no moon? Is there a half moon?
It is a full moon.
All right. So I look deeply around at my environment and I stare for a long time at the moon, just kind of drinking in the visual splendor of the moon. What is the planet that we live on called?
Um, I think it would just be called like Earth, right? Like
Doesn't it have a name like, you know, like
Monera.
a
Well, Monera is like the name of the land,
Minera? Right.
but like I think it's like that would be like America, right? Whereas like the planet's just called Earth.
Earth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Um,
regardless, do I remember how or why I've come to be in this field at this time?
you have been guided in a particular direction for a number of weeks now, and you've just sort of slowly been making your way across the landscape, trying to sort of follow this intuition.
Okay.
Now you said you wanted to look around, see if you could find anything.
No, I just want to put my hand on the hilt of my sword, and I begin walking into the night, following whatever sort of path, or if there is no path, I'm just following the moon. Whichever way the moon is, I'm just following the moon. That's what I've been
Okay,
doing.
you're gonna keep walking.
I'm going to continue to walk. Well, do I have a horse? I have riding skill, but do I have start with a horse?
Um, I'm gonna say not at the moment. We'll
Okay,
work up
all
to
right.
that.
So
That's sort of a
I
big
have lost
upgrade.
my horse, or I haven't found a horse. So I'm just
Yeah.
walking. Uh, and I'm essentially following the full moon as though it were guiding me.
And as you sort of like start to gain some distance, gain as you start to sort of leave this little patch of forest, um, you sort of hear some footsteps like crumpling the grass and behind you.
And I roll either cool or vigilance to see if or some kind of perception check to figure out if someone's following me or something.
Yeah. I would say I guess you could either do vigilance or perception, whatever one of those is better for you. Vigilance is probably the higher roll, isn't
Hmm.
it?
So I have 1 point or career vigilance, and I have 3 green triangles for vigilance. I'm not sure what that means. For perception, I have 2 green triangles.
Okay, so
For
what is
vigilance, I have 3, and it says will, and my will is also
okay,
3.
I see. Okay. So so we're going to roll your vigilance. So roll your vigilance. So on this dice thing that we have open, you're in there, right?
I guess that's what this is, yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna put up 3 greens and then 1 purple.
3 greens, 1 purple, so 3 green diamonds, 1 purple diamond,
Yes, yes.
and then hit roll.
Yeah.
Okay, it says 0, 0, 100, so I don't feel like that's right.
0,
Everything
0.
reset to 0, 0, 0, 0, all this.
Oh, yeah, that yeah, no, you did it right. You're all good. Okay, so you rolled 4 successes
How did I
and
roll 4 successes? What all the zeros mean?
zeros? Yo, look below that in the do you see below that? There's like a uh it'll show you what you rolled.
Sunshine rolled, like, 3 green triangles and a purple triangle. Who's Sunshine? Is that me?
That's everyone because you have to otherwise it's complicated to get in the room.
Okay,
But yeah,
alright, so we're
so
all Sunshine.
yeah. So you rolled 4 successes. So basically the way this works
I
is
would share my screen if I could, but maybe
yeah.
I can't. Hold on.
So so basically the way this works is that here I'm watching your stream. So do you see
Uh,
those like sun symbols in your roll there?
I see 4 sun symbols and what looks like a crosshair.
Yeah. So basically the way this works is you'll notice that there's 3 shapes of dice and then 2 colors of each shape. So the one on top, the yellow, the green, and the blue. The yellow is like proficiency, so that's you being good at a skill. The green is like your just innate ability, right? So that'd be like your strength
Okay,
and your
so
brawn, that sort of
yellow is
stuff.
skill, green is talents. Like,
Whereas the blue is like some sort of advantage you have. So say you're making an attack on like but you have the high ground, right? Or say you
okay, blue is environmental advantage. What's
yeah.
purple?
Purple is so the bottom row, the purple, the red, and the black, those are the opposites. So red is challenge, purple is difficulty, and black is disadvantage, some sort of
Okay.
disadvantage, right?
So you're telling me that I somehow rolled 4 successes?
Yes. So
Now, does
basically,
anyone remember what I was trying to do in the first place?
you were trying to like see if you could notice
Oh
what
yeah,
was
because you
following
said
you.
I heard
Yeah.
someone following me. Yeah.
So basically, the way it works is the difficulty is not a number. The difficulty is is negative dice added to your pool, and then basically the way it works is on the negative dice you have uh failure failure symbols and threat symbols, and on the positive dice you have success symbols and advantage symbols. And so those so the success and failures cancel out, and the advantage and a threat cancel out. And what you're left with after that is the result of your roll. Right. So if
So
you
you
have
can
it,
still see my screen, right?
yep, yep.
So what does
So
all this mean?
what that means is you succeeded very well, but you generated one threat, which means that there's going to be like a if the way I explained it to Eggbase is there's two axes here. There's an axis of success and failure, and then there's an axis of luck and unlucky, right? So you succeeded, right? Here's how I'm gonna rule this is that you you sort of hear this thing following you, and you turn back very quickly to sort of face it, and you see um a figure, like a sort of very hulking figure wearing like dark robes. He's very like raggedy looking, and because you sort of turn back so quickly, he sort of takes a defensive stance, and he looks like he's preparing for a fight.
So I'm sorry, I detect something, and what is it that I perceive, or what is it that I
It,
see?
a big hulking human figure with like very raggedy clothing, right? Like someone in like a traveler's coat, but it's a little bit damaged, right?
Okay,
And he's
and they're following me?
yeah, but in turning around to see them, they felt threatened, and now they sort of seem to be reaching for something at their side.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna step backwards until my back is against the closest wall, right? So that my back is against the wall. I'm gonna place my hand on the hilt of my sword, and I'm gonna look directly at the person who has gained my attention and remain still and just watch him to see whether he will approach me, pass me by, or what he will do. But I'm gonna make it very clear that I know he's following me and that I am looking right at him, but I am staying still as a statue.
Okay. So as he sort of sees you sort of standing there ready ready to draw your sword but not actually making any movement towards him, he says hey, takes his hands away from his hips and he sort of puts them in the air, and he says, hey, I don't want this to get messy if it doesn't have to. And he sort of says that and awaits your response.
I say, approach, stranger, and pray tell what business thou hast with me this evening. And
And
if I
he
speak archaically, it's because English is my second language, being
Okay.
that I am from Rokugawa, the island nation of the east.
So he basically says he approaches you sort of very very cautiously, and he says, "Hey, I mean no harm. I was just camping out in those woods there. I'm sort of traveling around looking for work, but I gotta say I ain't seen no one with armor like yours."
I nod and I wait for about 10 seconds before replying. It is the armor of my ancestors and has been worn since my great great grandfather's generation. And I kind of go quiet.
And he says, "You from around here?"
And I reply, no, I have traveled far from lands beyond the Eastern Sea.
And why are you traveling for? You looking for something?
Indeed, I say, I have been on a long journey, a difficult journey, the end of which is not yet in sight.
And he says, "Okay, well, I mean, do you know where you're going? I know the landscape pretty well. I could. There's a village just if you follow this path and take a left at the crossroads, There's a small village. You can probably find a place to sleep for the night. It's not too far away. You'll make it before daybreak.
I take note of his instructions and I ask the name of the village.
Okay, hang on. Let me open up a notepad here. Uh, Nolar. It's called
Nolar.
Nolar. Gnolar. If you see that on a sign, you're in the right direction.
I say, thank you, my friend. Is there anything else you can tell me about these lands? Perhaps, is there a king or queen who rules over them? And how safe are the territories hereabouts?
Well, the capital is quite a ways away from here. Uh, it's pretty much the only real big city in the country. But yeah, that's a long ways off. As outside of that, it's mostly just small villages, some medium-sized towns. Um, but as for where we are right now here in the wilderness, I gotta warn you, your immediate surrounding is goblin territory. A lot of them out here. They ain't hard to deal with, but uh, they can sort of swarm you in numbers. So I'd recommend being careful.
I nod ever so slightly in acknowledgement, and I say, I apologize that I have not the currency of this land with which to compensate you for your service, but should ever I have the opportunity, I shall repay you for your assistance.
Well, no, just so you know, and it's of no difference to me, friend. I'm just, looking out for a fellow traveler. But the Nolar village is sort of a little bit of a checkpoint for bounty hunters and mercenaries. They got sort of a little bit of a guild outpost there that manages contract work. I'm sure if you head there, you'll not only find a place to sleep, you'll also find probably something to earn you some money, maybe a bounty to go after, that sort of thing. You look like you're experienced in combat. I'm more of a survivalist myself, but I'm sure if you head there, you'll find some way to make some gold, some silver.
And say, what was your name again, my friend?
Uh, and he says, "Oh, me? I'm my name's Randolph."
Randolph. Thank you, sir. And I shall be off for the town of Nolar. May the gods watch over you.
And
And I'll
you.
return, and I would like to use my athletic skill to try to sort of athletically sprint in order to arrive quickly at our
Uh,
next location.
yeah, okay. Um, that's not really a difficult. There's not. I would say we're gonna make a simple check here. So a simple check is we're not rolling against a difficulty because there's no real difficulty here. Um, Actually, wait, no, we're gonna roll against a difficulty of one. With a so I would say roll your athletics against one purple and one black, and it should say on your character page how many what you're rolling for each individual skill. So if it's like one yellow and two green, that's what you're rolling. But just
So
so
I
you
have
know,
two yellows and one green for athletics.
and just
So
I
I'm
explain
going to
I
go.
wait. I just would like to explain one thing, just so you know how it works.
Mhm.
Basically, the sheet's doing it for you, but I explained this to Egg Base, and this helped it make more sense to him, from what I understand. So basically, the way it works is you look at the skill. The skill has an associated characteristic. You compare the two. The higher number is the number of dice, and the lower number is the number of yellow dice. Right. So what's your athletics and what's your brawn?
My brawn is 3, and my athletics is at, well, I'm not sure. I have 2 yellow and 1 green in athletics.
So that
So,
means you have a. So that means So your brawn is 3, so you get 3 dice. You have one in athletics, so one of those dice is yellow and the other two are green. So you're gonna
but shouldn't I
roll.
have 4? 3 for brawn and 1 for athletics?
No, so
Actually,
it's.
I have 2 points in athletics.
Oh, do you? So the way it
Yeah,
works is the higher number is the total number of dice. The lower number is the number of those dice that are yellow, and the rest are green. So if you've got 2 points in athletics, That means you're rolling two yellows, one green, and then I'll tell you what the difficulty is.
Okay, so I have selected 2 yellow and 1 green, assuming the pentagon and the diamond. And then I
Okay.
roll, and it just changes to 0, 0. Now it says Sunshine rolled yellow, yellow, green, but it's like very confusing. There's like green with arrow, arrow, yellow with arrow, sun,
So
pentagon,
don't worry
yellow.
too much about the dice faces. That's like the actual what you rolled. The result is on the bottom. So uh you rolled a success against 3 advantage. So yeah, you managed to sort of pick up the pace at sort of a not a little bit more than a brisk pace, and as you're sort of running by, you see that the traveler was correct, and you actually run across a few goblins, but you sort of run past them fast enough that they decide that you're moving too fast for them to try and chase you, basically. And so
Hmm,
you come across this.
goblins.
Yeah,
Well, what do I know about goblins in this world?
goblins are very weak, but they tend to come in numbers. Uh, so like if you ran across a goblin, it would be absolutely nothing for you to take it out, right?
Right, but are they enemies of humanity? They eat people's sheep. How do people see goblins in
They're
this?
they're they're generally pretty violent, and there
So
might be some exceptions, but in general, if you see a goblin, like that thing's gonna that thing's
okay.
gonna try to
Well,
attack you.
then my character, based on racial antipathy against goblins, once he sees the goblin, I would like to use one of my stealth points. So I have stealth of 3 green triangles, 3 green diamonds. No
Oh yeah.
points, but 3 green diamonds, whatever that
Okay.
means. And I
I
have
would.
agility of 3.
Okay. So so roll 3 green diamonds against a difficulty of 1 purple. So roll 3 greens, 1 purple, and
Okay,
give
but
yourself 1 blue too.
can you guys see all this, by the way?
Here,
Or
I'll
can
I'll
you
post I'll post the rolls chat
I'm just
in.
wondering, can you see my stream so that you
Oh
can see what I'm rolling so you
yeah.
can see?
So
Okay.
so 3 greens, which represents the reason you're rolling 3 greens is
Uh-huh.
because you don't have any skills in stealth, but you have a 3 in agility. So
Right. But it
if
is
you had
one of my class skills, but I have no
right.
points.
Right. But if you did have 1 point in it, instead of rolling 3 greens, you'd roll 2 greens and 1 yellow. So
Okay.
so so this
So
is
it's
this is
talent versus skill, but it overlaps or
yeah.
something.
So
Okay, so I'm
roll
rolling 3
against 1 purple, and then give yourself no, add a purple and then add a blue. The blue is because it's nighttime, so it's easier
blue
to stealth
square.
around. Yeah. The blue represents like advantages and disadvantages. So you're
Okay.
doing a stealth check at night, so you get a blue. So
Okay.
roll.
And roll.
Yeah.
So
Uh
3 successes, 1 like, does this mean fail the crosshair? 3
no,
successes,
no.
1 fail.
No, if you have at least 1 success, you succeed. That symbol is a threat, so that means like you sort of unlucky in your attempt, right? So
More
you
successful but dangerous, perhaps?
right, so you sort of
My goal
you
here is to sneak up on the
right,
goblins without them seeing me and get as close as possible.
right. So yeah, you manage to sneak up on the goblins, but you find yourself sort of below them in terms of like elevation, right? They're like they have the high ground on you, but they haven't noticed you, basically.
Okay, how many goblins can I see, or how many goblins do I deduce that there are here?
Uh, give me a perception. Yeah, give me a perception check against what's your perception?
I have 2 green triangles for perception, and I don't seem to have any attribute that goes along with that.
So roll 2 greens against 1 purple and 1 black.
So roll 2 greens and put in 1 purple, 1 black.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 sunshines, 1 crosshair, 2 triangles green, 1 triangle purple, 1 black crosshair.
Okay. You sort of notice that there's sort of about 4 of them, and they're around you. Like you are sort of in the middle of them, and they haven't noticed you.
And they're goblins.
Yeah.
Is there anything exceptional I can see about them in terms of, are they wearing like equipment? Do they seem to be regular goblins, chieftain goblins?
I mean,
Power-
some of them have like a little pocket knife, like a little flint knife or whatever, but they're just raggedy goblins in like loincloths, basically.
All right. Well, then I'm going to attempt to use athletics because you said they're above me, right? They're on the high ground.
I would say about two of them are above you, and two of them are sort of below you on this sort of hill you've snuck up on.
All right, so I'm going to attempt to spring up to the high ground above from below to surprise them and land with like a slashing chop to just like chop one of their heads off, hopefully shocking and surprising the other one.
Okay, so now you're gonna make an attack roll.
Right.
So,
Well, and
uh,
I can make an athletics roll for the jump and then
oh
attack
yeah,
roll if you want,
yeah.
or I can do it all as one. It's up to you.
I would say make an athletics roll, and we'll call that the success of your jump, and then we'll interpret that into what it does to your
Okay,
attack.
so my athletics is 2 yellow, one green. My brawn and agility are both 3. So
We'll call it a difficulty of 2 purples.
so
Just trying
I'm
to show.
rolling 2 purples, and I don't understand the roll system. Like,
Hey, Egg
am
based,
I
are you
am I
there?
am I rolling 1 green and 2 yellow?
Yes,
Hey,
sir. What's up?
would you like to help me explain how this dice system works to Shogun? Because you seem to understand it quite well.
Um, okay, where'd you leave off?
Well, I was
Well,
I
I'm
was
I'm streaming, and he's trying to show me how, like, I'm playing, but I don't understand this, like, system at all.
so
Okay.
basically. Oh, go ahead.
Wait,
Go ahead.
hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to pull the stream up here. So, okay. So you have so what are you trying to roll for right now? Like what's the roll that's on the machine
Well,
right now?
I'm attempting to jump up to an elevated platform and then attack somebody with a katana, but he's just trying to explain to me how this whole system works. I've never seen anything
Okay.
like this
So you're
before.
trying to do a jump and an attack. So let's see the character sheet real quick, please.
It would be like an athletics check first for the jump, and then like a melee attack if you were to break it up into 2
Okay.
instead of
So you've
1.
got so we're rolling what
Like,
agility and melee light? Like
well,
We're
I
doing
was thinking it would
what's the
perhaps
check,
be
dude? Missile.
athletics
so
for the jump and then an attack, or it could be combined into like one
we're
agile attack.
we're doing 2 rolls. One to see if he succeeds at the jump part of his attack, and then 2 to see if he succeeds at the actual attack itself. Basically.
Okay, so I understand. So Shogun, so you have 3 brawn and 2 athletics.
Yes,
Right.
although again, I don't quite understand because it shows me with 2 yellow things for athletics and 1 green thing, so I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
so that's correct because 3 brawn is going to be the total number of your dice. And then because you have rank 2 in athletics, that's going to be the total number of yellow dice.
Which are like
Okay?
what, automatically successful or succeed more easily, or
Yeah, they're better
So
dice.
the
okay,
yellows are more favorable. Yeah.
I see. Okay, cool.
Like the green die are basically die that you roll for success, and then the yellow die have like even more potential for
Right,
successful
I see. Okay, cool.
outcomes.
So right now I'm
So
going to roll 2 yellow, 1 green. Is that what's happening?
so that
Yeah.
yes, that's correct. But just for clarity, the higher number is always the number of dice, and the lower number is always the number of yellow dice. So you're measuring your stat against your rank in the skill that you're using.
So does that mean it's 1 and 1 instead of 2 and 1?
No. You had it right. It's 2 and 1, but it's 3 total because your agility is 3,
Right.
and then it's 2 yellows because your whatever athletics is 2. Okay.
Okay. And so what's the purple diamond means, like an opposition or something?
That's
So
the
the purple
difficulty.
is yeah. So the purple is how difficult the act actually is to perform, and then the red is like how much even more difficult it actually is to like the yellows and reds are the more powerful versions of the greens and purples.
Okay. And the
Right,
blue is
and then
something
the
to do with
blues and blacks
environmental.
are like buffs and debuffs, respectfully,
Okay.
or
So
respectively.
is this correct for this roll? I'm rolling 2 yellows, 1 green, and 2 purples.
Uh,
So why is the blue in there?
I don't remember if I gave him that, but I might have.
I
I'll
thought you
say
said it. Whatever.
yeah. No, give yourself the blue. We'll let you roll with that. We'll roll with it.
I thought it was because I have to jump up to high ground or something.
Well, yeah, but that would be harder, wouldn't it? Jumping
Yeah.
up to high ground.
Wait.
Yeah, so like a big vertical would probably be more difficult than
I thought you were saying the blue was like making it harder because of environment or something.
no.
Oh,
So
sorry.
the blacks
Sorry.
are.
Go ahead.
So what I was saying, the blacks are debuffs, and the blues are buffs. So the
Okay.
blues actually give you an increased chance, and the blacks give you a
right.
decreased chance. But for an act that's like a high vertical, that's actually going to be like the purple and reds are the difficulty. So that would actually probably increase your purple or red instead of giving you a buff.
I think I gave him the black because he did a stealth roll right before this, so they don't know he's there, right? So that's what.
Yeah, right now I'm leaping out of stealth into an ambush.
Oh, so you have the element of surprise. So you gave him a
right.
blue for that,
But
dude
I'm
missile?
also having to do like a pretty significant vertical jump to like jump out of this like hiding spot and like attack.
Yeah. So yeah.
So
Give yourself the blue back, I would say.
So one
yeah,
blue.
put the blue on there. I mean, I'm. Of course, it's not me, but if it were me, I would say that's difficult. But he has to roll twice, so that's fine.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So now give it a roll.
So just hit roll.
Yeah.
So I got 4 sunshines and 1 triangle. And I got 2
Okay.
yellow, 1 green, 1 blue. It's very confusing, but I got 4 sunshines, 1 triangle.
Okay. So yeah. So that means you succeeded, and the triangle means that you get like a little bonus, basically.
I'm
Like,
saying not only did I launch myself really high up in the air out of total surprise stealth, this probably has terrified and like stunned them. And who am I attacking right now? I can't even remember who's chasing me.
no, you're checking goblins. You snuck up on a
Goblins, right?
yeah.
These are goblins.
So now
Exactly.
you
That's
want
what
to
I'm
make
going for.
your
So I want to shock them ideally, but regardless, I want to slash one of them in half with my my downstroke of my katana.
So unless otherwise stated, an attack roll is always your attack skill against a two purple.
Attack
Basically.
skill.
Yeah, sorry.
Brawn, agility,
You're attacking with your
brawl,
sword?
melee. Well, right now I'm using my katana two-handed, so that would be my light melee weapon. We
Yeah.
decided.
So so you get 2 yellows and 1 green for that, basically.
For
So you're gonna
agility
roll
3.
that
Okay.
against 2 purples.
So 2 yellows, 1 green, 2 purples, and roll.
Yeah.
So 1 sunshine, 1 crosshair.
All right, dude missile, before you go and interpret that roll, Shogun, do you have any interest in actually understanding the
I
different
want
symbols?
to. It's just there's a lot of them there. There's different like 2 different kinds of purple triangles, green, 2 yellows. Like there's a
Well,
lot going on.
so divorce yourself of the idea of associating the symbols with the colors. The colors of the die denote their purpose. The symbols themselves are just the shapes. Okay, so if you look at them, right, you see how there's an X.
An
It's
X on
like
which
3.
ones?
It's like 3 rolls back on the
I
purple die.
see
But
a purple
you see an X
triangle
there,
with
right?
an X on it. Yeah. On
Okay,
the
so
3rd row.
the X symbol is the opposite of the sunshine symbol. So they are, the X is a fail and the sunshine is a success, and they cancel out.
When you
Okay.
say the X, like, so it says it's confusing because it says sunshine rolled, and I don't know why it says sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's just your name in the room.
I don't know why that is either. But
Well, okay.
regardless, what I'm calling sunshine is that it's 8-pointed star below, right? There's 2. There's an 8-pointed star, it looks like, and then there's what looks like a 3-pointed crosshair. So I'm calling it sunshine and crosshair. And my understanding is sunshine is success, crosshair is fail, I guess.
No, so sunshine is success, X is fail, and then the crosshair and the chevron. The crosshair is a threat, and the chevron is an advantage. and they cancel out.
Because I'm not
So
seeing any
if I
X's
roll,
except for the pink triangle on row 3. That's the only X I see.
yeah, so that's because you haven't rolled any fails since
Okay.
then.
So that was a fail.
Yeah.
No, so see, but you had 3 successes and 1 fail, so the total was 2 successes.
So the crosshair is also a success. The two quote unquote sunshines or 8-point stars successes, and the three-pointed crosshair is also a success.
No, the
And that-
3-pointed crosshair is a threat.
To me,
No, it's a threat instead of an advantage. Yeah.
to me though.
Yes.
Whereas the chevron is an advantage to me.
Yeah.
An advantage. So, like from your perspective, the chevron is like a favorable good luck sort of thing,
Mhm.
and then the crosshair is like an unfavorable
Right.
bad
So
luck.
if I
sort of
roll
thing.
in the bottom, it says Sunshine rolled 3 stars and 1 crosshair. That's like, well, you succeeded, but there's a danger implicit in the success.
Correct.
Yeah. So the example he gave me is that like I rolled a boon and I was checking like if I recognized the figures in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
So I rolled a boon, which is like a critical success. So I completely recognized them, but I rolled 1 threat. So I like let out a little vocalization that caused them to be a little more alert. You understand what I'm saying? So
I think
like
I'm
it
getting
succeeded,
it,
but
but
yeah.
just to see if I understand. So the last thing I tried to do was leap out of hiding, jump up high, and slash a goblin's head off. So where did we leave off with the rolls? Did I roll for that?
You just did your attack roll. So so you got 1 success and a threat. So can you go to your character sheet down to your weapon? Can you tell me how much damage your weapon had?
So my weapon, the katana, does damage 3, critical 2.
Okay. So you had 1 net success. So you did your base damage was 3. You get +1 damage for every net success. So you did 4 damage to this goblin, right?
Okay.
But that threat is that because you were like because you were doing an attack out of like a crazy jump maneuver, you as you sort of follow through with this attack, you sort of, because of the uneven terrain, you sort of end up in unfavorable footing. So anything making an attack against you is going to get a blue dice.
Fair enough. My intention was also to possibly frighten and surprise these cowardly goblins. I don't
You
know.
did
if it's
you
acceptable
succeeded
for
at that. You succeeded at that.
Okay, great. So where does that leave us? Can you give me 1 second to prepare for this next minute? 1 second.
Thank you, Eggbase. I was having trouble like explaining the whole dice thing to
It's
him.
okay. It's slightly counterintuitive, but yeah, you got it. I mean, I think you did a really good job explaining it to me, but it's hard to say the exact same explanation twice in 2 completely different scenarios.
Yeah, and also your scenario was like constructed for the purpose of demonstration, whereas his is like an actual moment of gameplay.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay,
So where does that leave us? There was what, 4 goblins, and I hit one for 3 damage. How many health does a goblin have?
you hit him for 4 damage.
Mhm.
They've got like 5, so he's like not quite dead, but he is like he's
Would it
like
be safe
prone
to
on the
say he's
ground.
out
Yeah.
of the fight? He's like
He's like,
he's done. He's out of the fight. He's
yeah,
like lying on the ground bleeding out.
I wouldn't worry about him. Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
missing an arm or some such.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So did the other goblins get their initiatives now, or what
Yes.
happens?
So I'm gonna roll initiative for them. I'm just gonna roll. So you do initiative against nothing. So
Against nothing?
yeah, you just roll the green or the yellow, right? So you know you're getting into a fight, so you're gonna roll cool.
Okay, so I have 1 point in cool, right?
Yeah. Do you?
Cool. Well, I have 2 green triangles in cool. It's one of my career skills, but I don't have a rank in it. I have 2
Oh,
green
okay.
triangles for it.
So roll 2 greens.
Okay. 1, 2 against any difficulty.
No. When it's an initiative
Okay,
check, you
just
just roll the
roll. Okay.
yeah.
So it says I rolled 1 starburst and 2 chevrons.
Okay. You go first.
So even though I did an ambush attack, I get an additional attack?
Well, The thing is, usually you would run it that like you do initiative before any attack rolls, but I don't like doing that because it like makes a stealth roll pointless, right? So yeah, you're gonna get
Right.
to go again here. You
That
got
makes
to jump
sense.
on them.
Okay. And so what's my situation here? I jumped up to a higher ground. I gutted one goblin. How many
Yeah.
goblins around me?
So there's one goblin that's on the higher part of the hill with where you are. It's sort of on level with you, and then there's two goblins lower on the hill than you.
All right, I'm going to seize the high ground by pointing my sword forward and like running on the tip of my toes and just trying to impale the top goblin right off the top of the hill so that I get the king of the hill position. Like I'm gonna run at him with my sword braced on my shoulder and just like stick it right through his chest and knock him off the hill.
Make a melee light. Roll. So the attack roll is
Okay.
always going to be against a difficulty of 2 purples unless stated
Okay.
otherwise.
So I roll 2 yellows and 1 green.
Yeah.
So 2 for 1. Oh, and I also have 2 points in rank melee light. Does that give me additional rolls?
That's where the 2 yellows are coming from.
Okay. So roll.
No, wait. Oh, no,
I
you
can't
got to
reset it.
You have to put a difficulty on there.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difficulty?
2.
So that's on the purple dice.
Yeah, so you can just roll that and we can well, if you want to keep your old roll, you just roll the
No,
2
it's okay. Let's
Okay.
just do it
Okay.
properly. Let's forget
Okay.
that one. That was
Yeah.
wrong. So the 2 difficulties purple, two yellow for my skill, and
1 green.
1 green, and then we roll.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got 4 starburst, 1 chevron.
Okay. So that means how again, what was the
My
damage on
my
your
my
sword?
my
Katana?
my damage on my sword. My sword does damage 3 crit 2.
Okay, yeah, so you like charge with your sword forward, right?
Right.
And you literally just impale the goblin on your katana. And
And
the
my
other
goal is to not only do that, but like throw him and then like slide him off my sword. You know what I mean? To clear my sword and like throw his
yeah.
body.
And as the 2 remaining goblins like see this, like they are actually freaking out. Like they're looking like they're gonna turn around and run. And
Right.
so now it's the goblin's turn. So goblin 1, he starts running away, and goblin 2, he's almost like it almost sort of seems like he's sort of sticking back to try and distract you so his buddy can get away. So
What I
that's
will do is just like extend my sword blade at him and point it like right between his eyes, just silently, and just like stare at him like, implicit in my posture that you must run or die.
okay. Let me see something here. So
And if necessary, I can roll like a coercion or
coercion. Roll coercion.
intimidation.
Roll coercion against a
Okay,
difficulty
so
of
I get
1, because these
3
guys
green triangles,
roll against a 1 purple.
1 purple,
Because this
3 green
goblin's freaked out. This
triangles.
is not a hard thing to do.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna get 1 X and 1 triangle.
Okay.
But I fail?
Yeah, you failed, and so the goblin. Well, you failed, but you did make the goblin even more afraid. Like he can barely keep his composure. He's like shaken, but he runs up to you, and he attacks you. He attacks you with his little pocket knife,
Okay.
and he fails. And he sort of tries to stab you, but he sort of loses his footing and falls on the ground.
Alright, well, I feel contempt and pity for his state that he's fallen over on the ground, and I don't feel a need to kill him, so I'm just gonna turn on my heel and, start walking away.
Okay, he does not make any further attempt to follow you,
Alright.
and he like he if as you sort of walk away, he sort of approaches the goblin you sort of incapacitated but didn't kill, and sort of holds him in his arms as he dies.
Alright. So
End
I'll
of initiative.
continue.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if I look around, what do I see right now?
You are sort of at a crossroads, and there's sort of a sign that that's one of the signs says Nolar, and the other sign
Right.
says says like the name of a different place.
Okay. Nolar is the place I was told to go, I believe. So I'll set off and follow a sign towards Nolar,
So
silently walking. Yeah.
yeah, so it takes you about an hour, but eventually you see sort of off in the distance this this small settlement. It's decently, it's not large, but it's decently built up. Like there seems to be a big like tavern building. There's a couple really big buildings and then a number of smaller houses. There's some signs in front of some of them that you can't quite make out, but you can probably reason that they're like shops and whatnot. And yeah, this is right ahead of you.
All right. I will look for a public house, inn, or a hostel, or lodging of some kind.
Okay, so you find that there is a sort of a tavern inn type place. You know, it's both a place to eat and a place to sleep.
Perfect.
And
So I will approach and walk through the front doors of the lodging house, and I'll
right,
take note of what I see inside.
it's pretty lively in here. It's there's lots of people. There's maybe a bard sitting around a table with a couple people around him. He's playing his lute and he's singing a sort of a sad song. There's people like gambling, playing card games. There's just a couple people around just having a drink or having a meal, and there is like a woman behind the counter who is presumably like the matron of the bar.
All right. I will take a solid 90 seconds to survey the crowd with my arms crossed on my chest. It's taking everything in. And then I will delicately, by which I mean precisely, maneuver through the crowd so as not to accidentally get in anybody's way or bump into anybody, to the woman behind the tavern and inquire if she has a room available for the night for me to rent.
And she says, yes, we do. It's five silver a night."
All right, so here we're under a problem, which is I actually have 0 silver according to my thing here,
Yeah.
which is actually okay. Um, Let me think about this for a second. I do not have room for a bed, but I actually don't need to sleep here. Well, very well. I suppose I shall simply nod in an indeterminate manner, as though I may or may not return, and then return into the crowd of the bar.
Okay, and I'm just for transparency, this bar is where I tend to sort of corral everyone into. So do you want to maybe
I
leave
would
it
like
off
to
there?
continue.
Oh,
I would
you'd
like
like
to continue to play for a little while, even if the other
Okay.
players haven't
Okay.
showed up at the bar yet.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
so I would like to take a look through the crowd and assess who is there, and in particular, like I just want any information about what kind of people are here, how many of them are, and what state are they in. Particularly looking for people that may be drunk, people that may be gambling, people that may have, piles of gold coins on the table in front of them, or be carousing with expensive alcohol.
right, right. Um, yeah, so you see like I said, you sort of see pretty much all of those activities going on around here. What do you want to do? Like, do you want to approach someone who's gambling? Do you want to there is one particularly well armored person who's sort of sitting at a table by themselves, and from the context, it seems like he's sort of scared off everyone else because there's not enough tables for there's not enough seats for everyone, and this guy has like a whole table to himself. But there's also some people like playing card games, various gambling activities, and there's you know
So sorry, you're saying there's somebody sitting by themselves, even though the place is crowded, is sitting alone at a table?
yeah,
And what else can I see about this person?
he's very well armored. Like he looks like
Well
a
armored,
mercenary.
heavily armored, like a
Yeah.
mercenary. I see. Does anyone here look particularly intoxicated or drunk?
I would say probably pretty much everyone has had something, but
Mhm.
but there's maybe like a couple drunkards around, like people who are particularly out of it.
All right, very well. I shall approach the man who's sitting in the heavy armor by himself, and I shall raise my right hand in an open-handed gesture and say, "May I sit beside you, sir?"
And he sort of eyes you up and down. He says, "Yes, go ahead."
So I sit beside him and I kind of look at the crowd of people reveling and partying, and then I look to him and say, "You look like a man who perhaps has been serving in campaigns or the military. Is there a particular? I'm trying to think how to phrase that right. But have you come from a campaign? Are you resting on a campaign? Is there conflict in the land, or are you simply here to relax? Something along these lines. I ask him.
He says, "Nah, not a more of a bounty hunter myself. Kind of do my own thing. I'm just here for work."
I nod thoughtfully and I say, "Bounty hunter," and I state the equivalent word in my own language. One who pursues those who exist outside the uh, laws of justice. Is that correct?
And he laughs and he says, "I suppose on paper, yes.
And I say, "Are there many such outlaws in these lands?"
Tons. Uh, of all various levels of danger, you know. I'm sort of a small game hunter myself."
I nod thoughtfully, and I suppose I inquire if he either requires assistance or can give me some kind of lead into how I might also pursue this line of work. Were I interested?
And he says, he doesn't say anything, and he points in a direction to like at the wall, on a different part in a different part of the building. He says, "Bounty boards there. Contracts, tons
Very
of them."
well. Bounties available on the board. I thank him and I nod respectively, and then I would like to make a stealth roll. And my intention here is to exert my ability to kind of blend into the background and become nondescript so as to be unnoticed. Can I roll that as a stealth roll?
Yeah, you can do that. Um, what do we think? What do you think for how difficult do you see this as being? Because it's a pretty crowded place. Because so
Well,
I'm thinking two
this
purples.
is a two-step thing. So I have three triangles in stealth based on agility, which is three. So my initial thing here is simply to become unnoticed, so that nobody is paying attention to me, and everybody's watching the gambling or whatever
Yeah.
else is going
So I would say because it's so busy in here, you can roll that against one purple.
on. Okay, so one purple, and I have three green triangles for stealth.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I go ahead and roll. I got two chevrons.
I mean, people aren't exactly noticing you, but you're not really blending into the crowd as intended. But everyone's much more occupied with like the fun and games going on. So
All right.
you're not exactly stealth, but no one's really looking at you anyway.
Let me think
Hello-
for one brief second here. What I want to do. All right. Well, for pragmatics and or excitement, I'm going to identify the drunkest and seemingly richest or most careless gambler or drinker who has like gold coins on his table or whatever the case may be, or perhaps some kind of fat purse or a pile of chips in front of him, who also appears either intoxicated or distracted. Is there anybody who meets that
Yeah,
definition?
there's a guy at one of the gambling tables, and he seems to be winning. He seems to be on the up today. Got a big old pile of chips in front of him.
Does he look intoxicated or
Yes.
inebriated at all?
Yeah, he's
All right.
he's like just barely sober enough to be functional at the game, basically.
So what I'm going to do is as I'm walking by, I want to casually backhand palm a mug or glass or ceramic pot, whatever they're serving at these tables, and just casually walk by so that it's in my hand, right?
Okay.
Then, when I'm standing behind the guy, I want to quickly throw that ceramic pot at the wall so it crashes. And in the moment of his distraction, when he looks to see what the noise was, to use sleight of hand to scoop up at least some of the silver coins that are on the table in front of him without him noticing.
Okay. Well, normally this kind of thing would be a skullduggery roll. But do you have anything you think would make sense here?
Well, if I looked at my character sheet, it would be an agility thing in terms of the sleight of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Stealth could be in terms of just not being noticed. Skullduggery, I have 2 points,
Okay.
according to the triangles, if that's skullduggery. But essentially, what I'm trying to do is create a distraction. Just make him look away long enough to be like, "What the hell was that noise?" And then quickly swipe up some silver. And the reason I'm doing this is simply because I have absolutely no silver, and
Okay.
I need a place to stay.
Okay, so I'm not gonna make you roll any checks for throwing the thing because that's simple enough for like a samurai to throw something, you know. Uh, but make a skullduggery check against 1 purple.
Okay, so the difficulty is 1 purple, and the skullduggery is 2 green. So
Come on.
roll. I got
Ooh,
3 explosions and 1 what's the word? Target?
a threat. It's called threat.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you managed to like swipe a handful of coins, uh, without anyone really noticing because
And
they're all too
immediately
drunk.
I try to move away, subtly, not racing away, but just subtly disappear back into the crowd before he can notice his silver is gone.
Okay. Well, he does. Someone does notice that his pile is smaller, but no one saw you do it. So
All
they're
right.
so suddenly they actually the people at this table start getting into an argument about who's cheating, right? And as a sort of a fight starts to
All right. So
boil up.
under the distraction of that fight, I just like very subtly and casually exit through whatever back exit or back window or back door there is. So I just kind of dip out the back with the silver.
Okay.
Can you
Yep.
tell me how much silver I was able to grab?
You managed to get 16 silver pieces.
All right. I'm gonna add that to my sheet. So I now have 16 silver instead of 0. Perfect. Okay. So I mean we can stop, we can continue. If someone else wants to join in, what do you want to do?
We can.
I'm still here.
Yeah. Do you want
Right.
to switch? Do you want to? Well, you said you had one. You said you wanted to switch over some stuff on your character, didn't you?
Yeah, I want to. So I was reflecting on it because I was supposed to do like the whole sorcerer thing,
Mm-hmm.
and what I ended up with is putting a rank point into discipline and not having one in. I actually don't have a career check on divine. I have one on primal,
Mm-hmm.
but my whole rub is like checking in intellect and willpower. So
Right.
um, yeah, I was gonna try and figure that out because I don't see my character using like primal magic anyway, right? Do you?
Well, Shogun, you should answer that. I don't know much about.
Well, I just think with the Zinchian sorcerer, it's really up to you whether you see that as purely arcane, divine, primal, any of it's possible, but I would just look at it as arcane magic. That's what I would do. That would make the most sense to me. But just see it as
Well, I've
arcane
already
magic.
got a check and a rank point in Arcana, but I spent my initial XP on raising my intellect and willpower. So
If he takes divine, he'll have more options as far as magic goes.
Yeah, that's sort of my point.
Right. Well, and there's something
Um,
cool about that, which is that you get not only the magic that you have as a wizard, but also the blessings you can get from your god, which is represented by divine magic.
yeah, all right. So on the record, I am taking the rank point, but not the career check out of discipline. I
Okay.
am taking the career check out of primal, putting it in divine, and then I don't know.
So
I think I should have like. So what is discipline? Like, how does that factor in?
be like energy to concentrate, or you have to resist some sort of temptation, right? So say like a sexy uh succubus is trying to seduce you. Roll discipline to resist, or or like you have to maintain your concentration on something very precise. That's not necessarily like an agility thing. It's more of like a you have to keep your concentration in order to be able to do this thing. That's what you'd use discipline for.
So if I cast like a spell and need to maintain it, I've already cast it, but I need to like concentrate to maintain it. That would be discipline, I guess.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Um, or like if I cast like a ruse or a facade and need to keep that maintained. Um, hmm, I don't know because I've already got the rank point in Arcana, so I'm thinking about whether I should keep the rank point in Discipline or move it to Divine.
Is divine a career skill?
Yeah, I just made it one.
Oh, okay, then yeah, that's fine. Well, it's up to you.
Yeah, I don't have any rank points in general skills, which I think might be like a detractor at some point.
Yeah, well, keep in mind after a regular session, you'll get 5 experience points on average, right? So like you can start to fill that out as we play. It won't take too long. Like after the first game, you can get one of your general career skills up to level 1 right away.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to put the point back into Discipline and keep it there.
Yeah.
All right. So I now have instead the only change I made was I changed Primal out for Divine.
Okay. That makes more sense
Okay.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it does make more sense. That's why I brought it up. All right.
Okay. That's fine.
Um,
Oh,
yeah. So Shogun, if you want to keep going, or if you want me to step in, or if you want to do it at the same time, up to you.
Shogun? So if he's not here, I would say let's just switch to you for a moment. Unless you think we should wait a couple minutes.
Um, um, yeah. I mean, I actually have to like go out for about. Let's see, how far is it? I just have to run around the corner. Um, I mean, it's literally probably 20 minutes, and I'll still be on the phone, but I'll just
Oh
be
yeah.
out walking.
Right.
So,
Well, I'm
Okay.
back if
Nice.
we're here or if we want to stop. Either way.
well, Shogun. So I've got to go for a walk. I'd love to keep listening to it, but if you want to keep going for a bit, and then I can like join later if you want, or we can swap out. It's up to you. But I'm probably going to be like 15, 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll still
Well,
be
I mean,
listening though.
yeah, we can stop there, I guess, just for intro demonstration or whatever.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
You
I
can do
mean,
your
I could just put off my little trip here for long enough to do like a little demonstrative intro thing?
If you want to, we can do
Especially
that. That would
because
work.
you and I have just done like 2 or 3 scenarios and haven't actually done anything super
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
I mean, we did a couple like demonstrators, but we haven't actually done anything super relevant, you know?
Yeah. Nothing
So,
like canon.
Yeah, so, I mean, Shogun's gotten to this bar already, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to just talk me through like the first couple intro sequences that get me to this bar?
Yeah, sure. So I think I'm not gonna say what it is for the purposes of spoilers of anyone listening, but I think we discussed more or less how you're gonna get there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so uh
I am,
you find
pardon me,
yourself.
I'm actually not in the dice room anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's the same link. We're using the same one.
Okay.
So you find yourself in your sort of uh for lack of a better term, humble abode.
Right.
Can you describe for me what your little base looks like? Is it a tower?
Yeah. I want you to sort of imagine that it's more of like an idea.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, for the purpose of RP, it's a tower. So, right, I'm in this tower.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say you are currently sleeping. And as you are sleeping, you are having this sort of chaotic dream of some very hellish imagery, right? Like corpses climbing out of the ground, you know, decaying plant life,
Right, like so some symbolic, like doom type, impending doom type dreams.
rotting. As you sort of start to come to consciousness, you get a vision of a sort of small little settlement out in some location that you don't seem to recognize. It seems to be a considerable distance from where you are located.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, you wake up. What do you do?
So I've had the last vision there was the vision of this other place.
Yeah, it was like a small town. I mean, you saw it in this context of this like hellish imagery. But yeah, you saw what was recognizably like a town.
Okay. Well, attributing some significance to those visions, especially due to my recent arcane studies, I would will myself out of my tower and appear somewhere randomly within about a 10-kilometer radius of the town that I was in.
Okay, so as you sort of enter the warp, am I getting the terminology correct there? You're using the warp to do
Yeah,
this?
so the warp immaterium, you can just think of it as like the fourth dimension, like spirit realm, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so as you sort of enter the warp level for the purposes, you're sort of traveling through the warp for a moment, and some sort of chaotic entity starts to accost you. And
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
yeah. So roll your I'm gonna say cool because your character's probably done this before. They probably understand that this is a risk. So roll your cool for initiative. And so when you're rolling initiative, you don't have any difficulty. You just roll it. You just roll the stat.
Okay, so I have cool as a career skill, but I don't have any rank points in it.
So what are you rolling for it?
So cool is presence. I have a presence of 1, so I just roll 1 green against no difficulty.
Yeah.
Okay, here, let me cross the road. I'm walking along playing
Dungeons and Dragons while crossing the road. Okay, so I'm rolling 1 green against nothing. I rolled 1 success.
Careful while you're looking down at your phone. You don't want to get hit by a car or anything. Just
No, I'm
be
not
mindful.
looking down at my phone. I'm on
Okay.
the sidewalk.
Okay. Right. Okay. So you rolled that. So he's gonna roll. Okay, you go first.
Okay. So you rolled 3 advantages, but not a success.
So you count successes and then advantages are for tiebreakers, basically. So
Oh,
yeah,
just on the
he-
initiative.
yeah. So he goes after you.
Okay. So what do I know in this scenario?
The being you're fighting is clearly to you it's incorporeal, right? You're not going to be able to
Mhm.
punch this thing. It
Yeah, I
doesn't
got
really
you.
have a
It's a chaos thing, but like, what do I know
yeah.
about it?
It's it has sort of like a corrupting quality to it. It seems more like this thing is not going to directly attack you with fire or ice bolts or anything. It's going to like try to infect you with something and deteriorate you from the inside.
Right, it's kind of going to try and do some chaos shit.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so I would like to. Zinch, of course, is also a chaos entity, so I'd like to just try and channel some of that energy. Call it like. So I want to roll like divine. Yeah, but
Okay.
I don't necessarily even want to do like an attack. I just kind of
Okay.
want to like teleport like repulse this thing such that it like goes somewhere else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Like just push it out of my sort of sphere of influence long enough for me to travel through
Yeah,
the interior.
just like for idea, you could be like lesser spirit of the immaterium. I am on the whims of a greater master. Stand aside, you know.
Right. He's in my way while I travel. Like, so I'd basically speak like, out of my way, whelp. I travel wherever I please. You cannot interrupt me. Flee before you perish.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say make that roll. Make that roll with make that a divine check against 2 purple. Give yourself a blue because you're sort of a patron of this thing.
Okay, so it's a divine check, which is 4 willpower, but no yellows because I don't have a rank point. And then 1 blue against 2 purples.
Yeah.
2 successes and 3 advantages.
Okay. The being sort of gives like I'm using physical language here, but it's metaphorically speaking, he like gives a wide berth for your exit, and it
Yeah, I
is
was going to say like being screeches and flees, and then the 3 advantages would be like me not being bothered for the remaining majority of my journey.
yeah, and you find yourself.
Hey, hold on, give me about 5. I only need about 5 minutes, and I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll take a quick intermission. If anyone needs to use the bathroom, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Little intermezzo, please. Yeah.
We can go back to.
Oh, back
Yeah.
to you. I kind of got to pee
Oh,
though. Is the thing.
Yeah, go ahead, take a pee. I'm
Okay,
gonna. Yeah,
PRP.
let's all take an intermission here.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm back. So you want to switch to you for a moment?
Depends wherever you left off or whatever you want to do.
Well, we still have at least a little bit more we can do with you. So let's just say you are out at the back of the inn,
Right.
and
And
you got
taking
that
some
16
silver.
silver. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to examine the inn for people that look like they might be useful to me. Look like they might have skills or abilities or equipment that indicates that they might be people that might be of use, as opposed to just casual party goers.
So what does that look? What does useful look to your
Well,
character?
people that look like they're well armed, well armored, or carry themselves in a certain way, to assess, if there may be anyone here who is a trained warrior, fighter, or has some other abilities that I could assess.
You see like a small one of the tables. There's like a couple. There's like three people sitting around it. One of them is wearing like a sort of very elegant purple robe, and she's like um smoking like something out of a pipe. And then there's like a guy with like wavy long hair. He's got his feet up on the table. He's got like a sword next to his chair. And there's also a dwarf who is like going ham on. He's got like several empty mugs around him because he's drinking really fast. They haven't the barmaid hasn't gotten around to cleaning up his table yet.
Well, very well. I will approach the dwarf who appears to be in his cups, and I will introduce myself as Hanzo and say that I am a traveler in these lands and unfamiliar with the territories and peoples. And the reputation of dwarves as good bodyguards and guides precedes them. And I'll ask him if he could be hired, or if he knows someone who can be hired to be a guide in these lands for a
And
foreigner.
he says, "Oh, I'm always looking for work. What's the detail look like? What am I protecting you from?"
I say all you have to do is, sort of show me the roadways through this land, and if we encounter any threats, we'll face them together. And any loot or treasure that we come across, we can split 50-50. And I'm willing to give you 16 silver to cover your drinks and your food for the night, and whatever else you need to drink on me. And I put the 16 silvers in front of him,
He
and
says, well met, traveler," and he reaches out to shake your hand.
I shake his hand, and I order a round of alcohol for him and his friends there with my 16 silver, if that'll buy a round of drinks. And I leave the rest with him, and I'll say I'll talk to him in the morning.
Yeah, and as you're sort of walking away, he's like, "Look, guys, I finally got some work." And his two friends like raise their hands in the air, like, "Hey!"
There you go. Exactly. And then I will retire to the outside of the I will leave the bar and I'll walk to a quiet place, perhaps with a tree, and then I'll sit in like a meditative posture and meditate under the tree until the morning when the dwarf sobers up.
Okay, I guess we should call it there for you for now until the other
I have
people.
returned.
Perfect timing, egg base. We just finished up with
Yeah,
Shogun.
I just got here in time to listen to the tail end of Shogun.
Yeah. Okay, so you ready?
Yeah, sure. So we left off. I rolled some advantages such that I'm not going to be bothered. Not going to, whatever, have a safer path. Not a safer path, but a less disturbed.
Okay, you find yourself in the middle of a relatively bare field. Like it's just like off in the distance in all directions. You just see a lot of grass. And there's no like other plants or trees or anything. You're just in this grassy field.
Okay. Well, I suppose the first thing I'm going to do. So that's all I can see. Right? You've established
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Any other like geographical features I can make out or anything?
There are no roads or anything. Like you seem to be off the path here.
All right. So my first response is going to be to curse repeatedly in an unknown and foreign language at not having arrived directly at the destination. And then my next response is going to be that in my studies, one second, walking back. All right, so in my studies of many arcane texts and many psychic repositories of information, I've learned a lot about planets and species of plants and where they grow and things like that. So I'd like to check either lore or forbidden. I guess it would be lore, right? To see if I can recall or psychically ascertain any information about the place I've just arrived at. Because I don't know anything about it other than that it appears in my dream.
Okay, yeah. Roll lore against 3 purple.
All right, so lore is going to be intelligence with 1 rank point, intellect 4. So that's 3 greens, 1 yellow against, what did you say, 1 purple?
3 purple, because this is like a very relative to you. This is like a very obscure place on the map.
All right, that's 3 successes and 4 hazards.
Okay. So you determine that this. If you could, you've got a lot of background noise. If you could mute when you're not talking, that would help.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Just a lot of snow crunching. So you notice that this species of grass is not like a normal species of grass that like is common everywhere. It's actually a particular species of grass that's quite invasive. And so wherever this grass grows, you don't tend to see much else growing, because it just sort of sucks up all the water and nutrients and sort of multiplies outward. And you know that this particular grass is native to parts of a country called Alvaria. And the country of Alvaria is it's a pretty big nation. But it basically the Alvarian government controls like the whole continent that it's on. And you're sort of in the sort of southern regions of this continent. And sort of you're out on the outskirts, so you can reason that there's probably a village nearby, but you are quite a far away from any of the larger, you're quite a far away from the capital of the country. But you know that relatively speaking, in pretty much any direction you go in, you'll probably eventually find someone somewhere.
So I can discern that this is a specific location. It's a habit. It's a settled area, but not in my immediate vicinity. But that it's not like in any way metropolitan or extremely developed.
Yeah.
And I can also ascertain. Did you say that I could make out the fact that there's a village nearby?
You can reason that there's probably some settlement somewhere nearby, right? Like you're out in the boonies, but you know that if you walk in any particular direction long enough, you'll probably find something.
Oh, okay. So I'm aware of the fact that I'm not in the absolute fucking middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there's some stuff around.
All right, so I'm going to curse again repeatedly in a completely alien language, and then I'm going to start walking. I guess I have to roll for that.
I mean, if you want to
Or
make like,
wait. So I have to choose a direction, right? So I'll
yeah,
roll
yeah,
for choosing a direction.
yeah.
Um, so what would that look like?
So I'm just rolling something on my end. Okay. Well, well, you just choose a direction, and then if you want to make like a survival check to see if you sort of make it there, we can do that.
Okay, so I can see that. Can I see any like astronomical features? Like, is the sun up? Are there stars out, etc.?
It's nighttime. It's nighttime. The stars are out. It's the full moon, and there's actually it's dark out, but the moonlight and the stars are giving at least a little bit of visibility in this
Okay,
otherwise.
so I'm not
night.
like totally in the pitch black. Okay,
Yeah.
so I, if I just have to go basically anywhere, then I'm going to choose to walk in the direction of the moon. And
Okay.
I have, let's see, survival.
Yeah.
So I don't have survival as a career, and I don't have any rank points. So how does that work when I don't have a career check?
Well, then you basically just roll however many greens you have in the associated
Okay,
characteristic.
so I just roll 2 cunning
Yeah.
against what exactly?
We'll call it two. Because you're not in the desert. This isn't going to be like that hard, but there's not a lot of
Okay.
vegetation around.
So I rolled 2 greens against 2 purples and landed 2 successes and a threat.
So as you travel, you manage to, in your hunger, find a couple herbs that you think are edible. Do you manage to sort of subsist on foraging as you sort of travel towards the moon? But as you sort of walk after having eaten a particular plant, you feel ill. Not like can't keep going ill, but like something's not sitting right in your stomach, and you seem to have eaten a minorly
So I'm not
poisonous plant.
debilitated, but I ate like a like a
Yeah.
minorly inedible substance.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um,
So as you sort of traveling, you eventually start to see a light out in the distance. And as you approach it, you see it's the torches lit in a small town that resembles the one you saw in your dream, although unlike your dream, it's a lot more peaceful and normal looking as opposed to the sort of
right.
hellish.
It's not all fucked up hellscape, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I see the town. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So my
And
first response as a go ahead.
I just want before we have you interact with any other characters, I just want to get a feel for what does your character look like?
Um, so the problem there is that like a lore accurate sorcerer is like fucking 9 feet tall and in power armor.
Mhm.
Um,
How would
but like
you
for the sake of the RP, um, I would say that um, I'm trying to discern what sort of things I can be wearing without having it be like, a specific like piece of equipment. Um, so we'll say that I'm wearing like enchanted blue and gold robes, and that I stand like significantly taller and stronger than any of the individuals I interact with, and I'm like glowing faintly. So I'm
so
I'm
when you
like I look totally like
magical.
yeah, but like weird. Like I'm gonna
Right.
draw unnecessary amounts of attention in a
You're a
normal
bad omen.
social
You look
standing.
like a bad omen.
Yeah. Um and let's say I'm like 7'2". So I like have to bend down notably to like get through doors.
Right, right. Um, Now, as you sort of, I assume you're gonna enter the village.
Um, yeah. So what I'd actually like to do um, is I'd like to sit down outside of the village
Okay.
and then roll forbidden to see if I can like tap into anyone's mind in the village and see if there's like a specific like vulnerability or target that I should be going to.
Uh,
Um,
yeah. Do you want
I,
to? Well, that seems magical. So it seems like what you'd want to do is you want to make a forbidden roll and maybe also a magic roll. Do you see what I'm saying?
mm, well, if it turns out to be casting a spell, then I'll just call it off and walk in there.
Uh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
as you approach,
So yeah, screw all that. So I'll just my engagement is to walk towards the village. Yeah.
I mean, generally anything that's gonna be like using a power is gonna be like a magic roll, right? Um,
Okay. So like rolling lore isn't, but
Rolling
rolling
lore
like
is
forbidden would be.
well, if you're rolling if you're trying to use your forbidden knowledge to like tap into someone's mind,
As magic. Okay, so I'd be
yeah,
rolling
yeah.
like a mind spell. Okay, yeah, no, I get
Whereas
you.
let's say you see something in like you see an incomprehensible lore horror and you're like trying to identify it, then you would just roll forbidden, right? You see what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. So it's like consulting knowledge versus using a mind spell. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
All
so
right,
you're going in. You're just gonna go in.
I'm just gonna walk into like yeah, just walk towards sort of the middle. Um,
Okay,
yeah, just walk like in the direction of the center of town, whatever that is.
as you sort of approach the center of town, you see two main large buildings, but then other than that, there seems to be a couple of shops with identifiable because there's like signs out in front of them. Um, and no one seems to be around the village because it seems to be very late at night. You can't quite tell what time it is because you're not sort of used to this geography. But it seems
Mhm.
it seems like pretty much most people are probably asleep by now.
All right, out of character for a second.
Mhm.
With the a priori knowledge that not only is Shogun sort of in this bar environment, but also that you've said you try and like corral people there in like a storytelling sense.
Mhm.
Should I be trying to get to this place or like
So in general, tr- this is the first set. This is like session one, and so session one's always gonna have a little bit of like contrivance to get the party together. So if you want to like go up to the
oh
bar
okay
and
yeah
yeah,
I was just asking how much dawdling you
yeah.
would rather I do, but like in character I'm probably mostly just curious about what is going on. So I'm gonna look around and just very silently, just kind of like peer and take in all my surroundings.
So you
So could you tell me about like the shops I can see and things like that?
there seems to be like a sort of general store, and then next to it a store that sort of specializes more so in like traveling equipment. Basic like crappy weapons. Some adventuring gear, some climbing tools. Bed rolls and tents and whatnot. And then the general store mostly has food supplies.
Okay. Um, do I know the language, or do I know what the language is but don't know how to speak it, or what's the deal?
We're gonna call it common, so we can assume you'd be able to speak to the people.
We're gonna assume I can talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to uh, walk up to the like I'm going to look around and try and find the most important person that I can, just like within line of sight. And then I'm going to walk up to them and ask uh, about the currency and like what the currency is.
So you see like a patrolling guard with
Okay. Yep.
in sort of a metal helmet and plate armor. He has a big old he's got like a pole arm. I want to call it almost like a glaive, like blade on the end of a stick.
Yeah, like a halberd, like a city guard.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and he's just sort of doing his nightly patrol, presumably. And yeah, so
This is beginning to sound a lot like Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I love that.
yeah.
So I'm picturing like one of the city guards from Kingdom Come Deliverance. But
I have that. I got that game on Epic forever ago. They were giving it out for free. I've never played it yet, but I've heard it's good.
it's really good. It's like there's a little bit of a learning curve at the beginning that turns a lot of people off, but it's just because the sword fighting is like really in depth. So, okay, so I approach this guard and I'm basically just trying to ascertain the status of like economics, um, and like, try and get an understanding of like where I can get some money or what the money is.
Okay, and he's so. Do you want to ask that in character, or do you just want me to respond?
Um, I mean, I would ask it in character to try and like persuade him to like help me out or something, but no, I think I'm just gonna like have a normal ass conversation. Just have you tell me a little bit more about the currency and the economic state.
Okay.
Like
Also,
how much is like, a couple basic things just to give me an idea.
like how much are basic supplies?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I would just like an idea of how much silver I should be trying to get just to sort of make my way in this little town for the short time I'm going to be here.
So he says, well, the inn's 5 a night, or 5 silvers a night. Food will run you, 1 silver for maybe a loaf of bread, some vegetables, that sort of thing. And he says, if you need work, the guild's over there, and he points to one of the sort of second big building, the sort of 2 big buildings, and one of them he's pointing to. He says, the guild's over there.
And is it like a workers guild, or is it like a warriors guild?
It's like a war. It's like I wouldn't say war. It's like It's like a adventurers guild, right?
Oh, okay. I see. Um,
Dangerous
okay.
work, basically, but not inherently like war work. If you get
Yeah.
what I'm
So
saying.
I'm just gonna take that as sort of a given, right? That he told me that it's like a warriors guild or whatever.
Okay.
Um, like an adventurers guild or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's you telling me. So
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm gonna walk towards that building, and I'm gonna try and walk to the adventurers guild or what have you.
You see these two. They don't seem. They're not wearing the same sort of uh outfit as the town guard, and you can maybe deduce that these people are guild members who have been tasked with a guard duty, basically.
Mm.
And they
Okay, so they're guarding the front door.
right, but they don't work for like the government or anything. They're like they're guild members. They're sort of differently employed
Yeah,
than the town guard was, and they
right.
sort of
They're just posted on watch.
yeah. And as you sort of approach the door, they say, "Halt! What's your business? Who are you?"
Okay. Um, so I'm just gonna stand unnervingly still and just stare at them.
And okay,
I don't. For the record, I have no idea what the fuck they're trying to do here. I don't know if they're trying to attack me or if they're just genuinely inquiring. So while I try and figure that out, I'm just gonna stand there unnervingly, stare at them, like stare down at them, and just await the next thing they say in response to that. Like I'm just
and
gonna totally ignore them.
so they wait for a minute, but they see that you're staring at them, and they sort of look at each other like, is this guy? Who the fuck's this guy? And they say, what is your business? Who are you? They don't approach any further. They just ask again.
So I'm gonna speak in it's sort of like an ethereal, like weird, sort of a loud whisper type thing that they've probably never heard before. and I'm going to say, I am Hasaphet. I come a long way. I heard that there were dangerous men here and wish to seek employment from them.
Let me say. He sort of gives like a big sigh, and he's like, "Okay, well, you need to get registered first."
Okay. So I swear repeatedly at him because it sounds like paperwork, and I haven't done paperwork in like 12,000 years. So
Okay.
I nod begrudgingly and walk effortlessly past them and go to where the registration is.
And you sort of hear one say to the other one as you walk by. So another one of these fucking weirdos. Am I right? And the other one sort of laughs, and they
These goddamn foreigners.
and yeah, you find yourself in the guild.
Fucking immigrants.
Uh, and well, I think they were more so. They're more so like, oh, people who use magic are always weird, you know?
Oh yeah. So they're just
Yeah.
like in
And
Skyrim.
yeah. So you can see as you enter the building, there's sort of various people in various sorts of styles of equipment. You see some robed people with holding staffs. You see some people who are a little bit more conspicuous with cloaks and daggers, and some armored warriors and whatnot. You see a couple really buff dudes, like with like no equipment. They're just in like gis, and they're like, yeah, you know, like some
So
monk
a
type
large
character.
variety of warriors from like lights to heavies, and then also like martial arts, like minimally equipped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see that there seems to be like a front desk of this main room. There seems to be some hallways that lead to different like parts of the building, but in this main room that you enter into, there's like a
There's
front
like an obvious
desk.
reception.
Yeah, and there's sort of an elven woman, and she's sort of sitting there, and she seems to be like filling out some sort of paperwork.
So I'm going to walk up to the desk. I'm going to put my hand on the desk, and my hand is going to burn a slight impression into the desk. And I'm going to look very intensely at her and demand to speak to their leader.
And she says, "Oh, the boss is asleep right now. He just got back from a long raid. You can't wait?"
And I'm going to speak sort of like a ventriloquist, like directly into her ear from afar, and say, "No, I will not wait. Wake him up."
Okay, we're gonna make that an intimidation roll.
Okay.
So, hang on. Is it no? It's where it's gonna be coercion, which is a good roll for you. There's no intimidation
Yep.
apparently. So
So that's
roll
4 greens against what?
2 purples, but give yourself a blue. The blue is for sort of the visceralness of this sort of ventriloquist thing you did.
Okay. So I got 4 successes and 2 advantages, or 5 successes and 2 advantages. Pardon.
Okay, she immediately gets up. She's like, just hold on a moment, okay? And she seems very frightened, and she leaves the reception desk and goes to the right into this sort of big door that's sort of labeled like headmaster's quarters or something. And you wait there for a few minutes, and as you're sort of waiting there, you see a sort of big red-haired, bearded, like dwarven man. He looks very well built, but he's a little bit short, and he's sort of walking out in like a robe and sort of like moccasin kind of slippers. Like he literally he didn't get dressed for this, right? He just he's in his sleepwear.
So I got 5 successes and 2 advantages. Can we put that as like I coerced her so effectively that she went in and scared the shit out of her boss with her reaction?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So he
And
comes out as you described, and he's already like slightly intimidated.
yeah. He's like,
Okay.
and he approaches you. He says, what's the issue here? How can I resolve this? I don't want no trouble."
Okay. So I'm going to uh, take my staff and hold it in my hand and place the end firmly on the floor, a right angle in front of me, and it's going to glow slightly. And I'm going to look at him and say, I heard that I could work here and receive the local currency in this area.
And he
And
says, like,
I'm still just giving him like an inhuman stare.
and and he says, Yeah, there's no issue. You just a form you got to fill out so we can register you. It's not complicated. You didn't need to wake me up for this."
And uh, so I'll look back at him and say, yes, I did. I'm above paperwork.
And he says, look, Margaret here can fill out the paperwork for you, okay? If it's really such an issue, I don't want any trouble. We just need to know your name, and we need to know your occupation. That's really all we need.
Okay. So having heard that, I'm going to raise my other hand and point straight back at his door and say, return to bed, old man.
And he sort of like rubs his eyes with his fist, and he goes, these friggin' magic users, I swear," as he sort of walks away.
Fucking wizard.
Fucking wizard. So it's maybe the early workings of the first campaign inside joke.
Okay.
So yeah, he sort of goes into his back into his bedroom, and Margaret, like a little bit freaked out, but a little bit calmed down because she seems to think it's been resolved. She says, "Okay, I just need your name and your your occupation. What are you? You seem to be sort of a wizardy type, eh?"
So having succeeded in my coercion and intimidation, I, lower my staff or put it back onto my back or whatever, and I respectfully but slowly walk back to the front of the desk, and I state matter of factly that I am Hasafet, and that I am a sorcerer of the Lord of Change. And what was the third thing she wanted to know?
I think that's all she asked. Just what's your name? What's your occupation? You know.
Okay, so I say those things.
Yeah. Okay. And she fills out the paperwork, and then she reaches under like the desk into some drawer or something. You can hear some things like rattling around, and she pulls out a sort of a like a badge, like a more of like a embroidered. I don't know what the word is, but it's like a
patch or something.
Like a patch, like a sew-on patch. And she's like, "Okay, just when you can try and get this sewn on into your clothes. We got some people that can help you with that if you don't know how." And this patch, is sort of it's shaped sort of like an eye, but the pupil is like a yin yang sort of symbol.
Okay. So, by the way, I'm speaking very minimalistically, and it's not because I want to have a nonverbal character. It's just because I'm new to the area, and these are strange surroundings, and I view all of these people so far as lesser beings, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick up the patch that she's handed me, hold it up against the lapel of my robe, and it's just going to glow slightly blue and attach itself.
Okay. And here's actually where I can introduce an important thing to know. That if let's say it's dark in a room, and there's like some candles or some torches, and you want to use magic to just light them, you don't have to roll for that, right? So like really minor magical things you can just
like
do,
super basic utility shit. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
like that, where I just
exactly. That's why I brought it up.
Okay.
Right, and she says, dorms are to the left, and she points to your right, and then she says, and job the job board is over there on the right. She points to your left.
Okay, so I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So I don't think as a sorcerer I would just like sleep in a bed. But for the sake of RP, can we just have it so that like when I secure a bed that I could rest in, I just kind of like, I don't know, just like stand in the room and just like close my eyes
Look,
instead of sleeping.
what's going on here is that this woman doesn't know your sort of mannerisms, and so she's assuming it's late at night, rooms are
Yeah,
over
she's
there.
offering me a bed, right?
Yeah, but yeah,
she
you don't
has no
even.
fucking clue.
You could just go stand in the middle of the room and do that if you wanted. It's all a short rest either way. It does. It's not important. You can role
All
play
right, and
that
I
however
haven't
you
really
want.
expended anything, so I don't need to rest right now, right?
Yeah, yeah. You are like ill. You are a little bit ill from the plant you ate earlier.
And the long walk.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
So now that I've registered with this guild, are there like perks, or do I have to like work before I can pay for like food and bedding?
I think you sort of. I think they're sort of kind to new members, so you can probably get something to eat right away. The bed's already been offered, but it's like if you were, but they're not just gonna let a vagrant walk in here and stay for a whole week without doing anything, right? You know.
Okay.
So
No,
you're
understood. So it's sort of like the companions, where like if you work for them, then you can kind of like just go in and out and stay there when you need
yeah,
to, right? But as long as you're like actually participating.
yeah, that would be a good way to view it.
Okay. I'm just gonna analogize a lot of things to like Skyrim or whatever, but
Yeah,
it's just me trying to understand what you're talking about. So
yeah.
um, okay, so I'm going to just sort of ominously stroll over to where the food is,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm anticipating that people are like looking at me and being like unnerved, and they're just kind of backing out of my way. And I'm just going to walk up and collect in my large hand just like an errant selection of food and just
Yes,
slowly start like eating through it.
maybe some cheeses, a couple slices of meat, some fruits. Does that I'm getting that
Yeah,
right?
just kind of whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like food in general, that I'm kind of just gonna magically consume, right? You know,
And
whatever. I'm not gonna be like fork and knifing it. You know what I mean?
right, right. And you see some of the people looking at you, and you see they're like, ah, this guy's a pig. But then you see sort of one guy, and he's sort of approaching you, and he's like, he says, "Well met, companion. It's nice. It's always nice to see new people taking up the work." And he reaches his hand out to like shake yours.
Right. So I'm not like a pig. I'm just kind of like effortlessly like levitating whatever
Oh, okay.
errant bullshit I picked up.
Well, in
And
that case,
yeah, so I just don't like give a fuck. I'm just like just kind of eating magically, but I'm still like chewing and everything, you know.
right.
But I'm
Well,
not
I
like
guess
making them. It's not like I made a mess. You know what I mean?
I think in that
Um,
case, if that's what's going on, the people are there's a couple people like giggling a little bit that like sees someone is like you putting
yeah,
this magical effort instead of just using a fork, and they're not like
right.
they're not
Mixed
like
reactions to my
yeah
strange behavior.
yeah
Right? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
but not like
So I'm gonna
negative
turn.
reactions, right? Like no one's like
No,
thinking like, oh, we got to get this guy out of here. They're thinking like, this guy's a little funny, isn't he?
yeah, they're not discriminating. They're just like either unnerved or amused. So
Yeah.
I'm going to turn to the guy who just went up and extended his hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to make a peaceful gesture and raise my right hand in his direction because I think touching his hand might be very unpleasant for him. And
Oh, I
I'm
see.
going to say, not that my hand always burns shit, but it's just like he's not gonna it's not like I'm going to shake his hand and it's going to be like warm and human. So instead of avoiding that, or instead of having that awkward encounter, I'm just going to sort of raise my hand to him and give him a gentle nod and say, "Well met, sir."
And he
And just attempt to like follow the social norms. You know what I mean?
right. Well, he sort of he sort of reciprocates your mannerisms well, and he's like, "So you look at the job board today?"
And I'm going to say, "No, I had some strange plants earlier, and feeding myself was the first priority. Is there
Ah,
anything interesting posted on said board of jobs?"
and he says, "Well, I guess that would depend on if you are working in it, if you've got some help, or if you're going out solo. As work for either situation. Some real tough bandits out there, but I wouldn't take them alone. But there's also some contracts out for goblin culling. They're getting a little bit too populous out here. They're paying 1 silver
Okay.
per goblin."
So I'm going to cross my arms. So this is like the most human reaction I've done so far, right? I'm going to cross my arms and look at him and raise my eyebrows slightly and say, "Would you or any of these other warriors be willing to join a team to conquer one of these jobs and split the pay?"
And he says, don't take this the wrong way, but I already kind of got a little group I tend to work with. But there's lots of people around here who aren't in groups. You could probably find some help."
Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, so I'm gonna try the just speaking nicely way first. So I'm gonna now turn fully to face him and say, "Well, I'm a very experienced sorcerer and am sure that your group could benefit from my expertise."
Okay,
Like I'm not even asking to join. I'm
ju-
just telling him that.
yeah,
Yeah.
just to let down the GM fiat a little bit. This is
Okay.
kind of part of the corralling here. Is like I'm setting up a quest for the party to take down, right? And
Okay.
so,
So instead of that, I will say that. Uh, well, perhaps I could assist your group if I can secure further companions.
and he says
Um,
if you can do that, that would help. We could have a couple different teams taking on different parts of this job here.
mhm. So I will look away from him now and say, "I shall take it under advisement." And then, without even letting him respond, I'm going to turn around and walk over to the job board and start reading the little quest things.
Okay. So there's sort of a variety of stuff, bounties for there's the biggest job on the board right now seems to be for the head of a notorious bandit leader who's been
Mhm.
ravaging villages in the area, and his
Right. I'm
name is
just looking for like entry level shit.
um yeah. So there's one that's describing that there was sort of a sort of sorcerer, a wizard, and he had been studying the local sort of fauna in a cave when he was sort of accosted by monsters, and he sort of dropped one of his magical tools. Uh, a, s-
Mhm.
a sort. It's you can sort of think of it as like a. It's like a sort of a crystal that
Yeah,
you
like a
sort of.
relic of some kind.
Yeah, but what it's describing is that this crystal sort of you sort of put an object over it. You put an object behind it, and then you shine a light through it, and the light shines through the crystal and then through the object, and this creates like an interference pattern on the other side of the object that the wizard can then use to discern stuff about like the chemical makeup or like the genetic makeup or whatever. So it's like a science. It's like a sort of arcane science tool, and he
Some
sort of lost. And he's sort of
arcane technology, seeing stone type thing, and he left it in this cave because he was accosted.
yeah, and he would just like
Okay.
someone to go in there and get it, and the pay is 100 silver.
So I'm going to look at this contract intently and say, haha, amateur hour. And I'm going to pluck it off of the wall and accept the contract so no one else can take it. And then I'm
Right.
going to walk into the dormitory and take a short rest.
And do you wanna call it there for now so we can
Yeah, what I'd like to do first actually
mhm.
is I've got a pen here. And just so you don't feel extremely pressured to be taking notes and remembering all aspects of my particular escapades,
Oh,
I'd like
that
to
would be
just
good.
write down what we did or how it left off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have
I'll be
session
right back.
one.
Or hang on. I'll be right
Okay,
back.
I'm going to write this down, and then when you get back, we'll go over it just to make sure it's correct.
Yeah, that works.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Kasheka.
Hi. I see that you guys are still recording.
We've been doing intro sessions for the D&D game.
Oh wow, this whole time. Okay, perfect.
Hello, what are you saying, Kasheka? I'm back.
I was just updated to the fact that this is a continuance. Like this is still the first games thing for the D&D.
Not really. I would call it the first game. This is we just ran some introductory sequences for Shogun and
Yeah, that's what I said.
yeah.
That's what he said. Intro gaming, whatever. Yeah, okay.
We'll do one
So
for
I
you
traveled
too
through
when
the
you get your
warp.
character done. Yeah.
I traveled through the warp to reach the village proximity. I then reached the village but consumed a poisonous herb. I'm not going to record all the conversations, but I joined the Adventurers Guild. Does it have a name?
I think I'm gonna say it's the name is the Alvarian Guild of Heroes.
The AGH.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the Alvarian. Is it ALVARIN?
So ALVERIAN.
Isn't it all variations? So it'd be.
Yeah. Did I say that or did you
VARIAN?
guess that?
No, you said that.
Okay, yeah.
So wouldn't it be spelled like variation? I don't know. You spell it however the fuck you want.
I'm gonna
so
say
it's
it's with an E.
ALVER.
Yeah, IAN.
No, I mean I was saying ALVARIAN, but so it's ALVERIAN.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that would seem like not all variations, but all versions. ALVERIAN.
I mean that works too.
Alvarian Guild. I mean they're like practically synonymous, so
Yeah.
it's all semantics. But Alvarian Guild of Heroes, plus their badge or patch. Accepted quest to receive or to retrieve Seer Stone.
Yeah.
Arcane Tech / Seer Stone for a local wizard.
Yeah.
For 100 gold.
Yeah.
Or 100 silver.
Yeah.
100 silver. Accepted quest to receive arcane tech / seer stone for local wizard for 100 silver. 8 and rested. 8 and short rest.
Mm.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I've got that down.
Okay. With that,
I actually have dedicated an entire small notebook to this. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So with that, Kasheka, could you end the recording for me? Because I don't have the permissions to end the recording. We need someone of your rank.
Do we
to do
just
it.
kick it out? Disconnect it?